Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca Mandeville, family systems expert and author of Rejected, Shamed, and Blamed, Help and Hope for Adults in the Family Scapegoat Role. I also like to share with my clients the work of Karen Horney, Horney, when I talk about the false self and recovering from family scapegoating abuse. Karen Horney was a psychotherapist many decades ago. I really like how Karen Horney conceptualized the false self in that she believed that we have a real self, and then through this splitting that can happen, where that's how neurosis is developed, is through this splitting that we experience through not being acceptable in the environments that we are brought into. And we live in, those of us who came from dysfunctional families, narcissistic families, we're living in energetically split family ground. We have parents that are personality disordered or traumatized or mentally ill, and their psyches are also split. It's like the Russian dolls, we're in a political, socio-cultural systems that are split, and there's people with power and people who are disempowered and people benefiting from other people's disempowerment. It's like the Russian dolls, smaller dolls. You get down to the core. We exist within multiple split systems, and it starts with the family of origin. And if you are not acceptable as your true self, your real self, and you're living within split systems, and your own psyche cannot help but also find ways to adapt to these realities. And what can happen is that you can split as a false self into the ideal self and the despised self. And a parent can project onto you an ideal self or a despised self. And what my own hypothesis around scapegoating in discussions of the ideal and despised self that Karen Horney talks about is the scapegoated child is the recipient of the despised self projection being cast onto them in their family of origin, either by the entire family through the family projective identification process, or the narcissistic projection emanating from a narcissistic parent. They also have a projective identification process that can be at play with their child, or, as I mentioned, a malignant narcissist parent and or sociopathic parent. I don't think splitting is a strong enough word for that. It's just a hornet's nest that no one would want to have to get caught up in. So the scapegoated child is the recipient of the despised self projection. The golden child, if there's a golden child in your family, a sibling, they're the recipient of either the family or the narcissist ideal self projection. So that's a different way to think about it. That's a intrapsychic way to understand. And these sorts of discussions are more psychoanalytical, but I'm finding people here on my channel appreciate the family systems knowledge that I'm attempting to share to show how that ties into scapegoating and fuels family scapegoating abuse. I figure there's people here who are interested in the psychoanalytical processes at work. It's a little more complex. It takes a bit more thought. It takes perhaps some curiosity, willingness to read, look at research, just to have a better understanding, because awareness is the first step. Expanding our awareness can help us have more choices and can help us make thoughtful, informed decisions. Seeing the world black and white, and every parent is evil and bad, and every scapegoated person is ideal and good, then we're back to the despised self and ideal self split. And I see that sometimes, and I understand it. If you understand how the psyche works, you can understand why there's people out there who have been victimized as children and even as adult children by parents who have been horrifically scapegoated. And it does make things, in a way, more simple to see these dynamics in a black and white way. This is good, this is evil. But I'll tell you, in the end, it doesn't help to stay in that place. It doesn't excuse the abuse. It doesn't mean you don't protect yourself from the abuse. I've said this many times, but to split because you came from a split system and to continue that splitting is not necessarily going to help you recover and reclaim and realign with your wholeness, with your innate wholeness, with your true self nature. Ultimately, you'll be stuck. And you'll be stuck because you're splitting. You're caught in a split. And it goes on and on and on. And I'm here to help others heal what is split. Help you to help yourself do that through education, through sharing what I know about family systems, what I know about trauma-informed care and complex trauma, structural dissociation, all the things that a scapegoated adult can be suffering from. In family systems, we know it's just, I've worked with hundreds of families. I mean, with families live with me. I've sat in rooms with many families when I ran the family programs at drug and alcohol addiction treatment clinics. I've met with families in my private practice. I've been immersed in the family systems field for over 2 decades. And I know that families are not always conscious of the harm they're causing. They're not integrated within their own psyches. They may be suffering from their own traumas that are not recognized. There may be generations and generations of trauma in the family that has not been recognized or addressed. And it's going to create dysfunction. It is just not that simple and black and white. Why family scapegoat? Why someone may be the target of narcissistic abuse? So I really appreciate your being here and your willingness to learn about family systems, to hear about psychoanalytical theory and research, to hear about the work of people like Karen Horney, and to hear about my own work on what I call family scapegoating abuse. And I will be talking about recovering the true self that can get repressed, sublimated, pushed down in childhood due to being shamed for being who you are. And I really would like to help everyone who comes here to understand that you're whole. You're already whole. It's an illusion that you're broken. And you can step into that wholeness. What I'll say to my clients sometimes who feel very, very broken is, I see you in your wholeness, and I will hold you in your wholeness and experience your wholeness that's underneath and within that brokenness until you can experience it yourself. And I think that the vases, those Japanese vases, starts with a K. Can't remember right now. Someone can tell me in the comments. But it's full of cracks, and then the vases are full of cracks, and they fill in the cracks with gold. And these vases are just beautiful. So you may feel like you have a lot of cracks, but those cracks can be things of beauty as you discover your true self nature, the gold that you inherently possess within you. And there's a line I love from Leonard Cohen. I often quote, the Canadian poet, singer, songwriter. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So if you feel you have a lot of cracks, that means you have a lot of light. A lot of light. And it's like a candle, a flame within. And if you had water poured on your inner flame early in life, trust me, it's still flickering in there. And my hope is you'll find through my work and other people's work who help adult survivors of psycho-emotional child abuse, that you start fanning that flame and have it grow within you and reclaim your light. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate you clicking the thumbs up. If you've watched some videos but haven't subscribed yet, but are getting something out of them, I encourage you to subscribe. And I hope that you got something out of today's discussion of the false self. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I do try to get back to every single person in one form or another. And I enjoy hearing from you and enjoy getting to know some of you as we engage more and more on the channel. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.